Hello everyone, welcome to the One Word Podcast show with host Julian Lee. Today I'm joined by Tom Hagerty and Edie Oduura. Welcome to the show again, guests.
Thank you.
Pretend that didn't happen. Alright, let's get straight into it. Today, the categories are potables, which are drinks, alcoholic drinks, the stars, actual stars in the universe, not celebrities, ancient times, first names, mountains, and the body human. Mr. Hagerty, you can kick things off on the left.
I'll go the stars for 100, Julian.
Stars for 100, says Tom Hagerty. This force is so strong in a black hole that it doesn't even allow light to escape.
I'll say that's true.
What is the force?
Oh, this force.
Yes.
Okay. This gravity.
Gravity is what we're looking for, I think. Well done, Tom. You're on the board for 100. What would you like? You're still in control. Edie, if you know any of the answers, just holler.
Okay,
Let's go potent potables for 100.
Potent potables 100. A fifth equals about 1/5 of this.
What is a gallon?
A US gallon is correct. Well done, Tom. You know your hooch. What would you like next?
Potent potables for 200, Julian.
Potent potables for 200. Claiming US creation of this Gaelic drink, San Francisco's Buena Vista Cafe sells some 2,200 cups daily. Gaelic.
What is grog?
Grog, is that right? Irish coffee is what we're looking for. So coffee with a bit of whiskey in it. Sounds horrible to me. Tom, what would you like?
First names for 100.
First names for 100. You don't have to know it was Pulitzer's first name to win a Pulitzer Prize.
What is Peter?
Peter. Do you have any idea, Edie, or do you want to have a guess?
What is John? Who is John?
Look, Edie, you've got the first letter correct. It's J. It's not Julian. Think
James.
Think Bible. J's in the Bible, not the big one.
James. Joseph. James.
Joseph. Here's what we're looking for. Well done, Edie. A little bit of clue giving, but that's all right.
We'll do ancient times for 300.
Ancient times for 300. Byzantine emperor who built the Hagia Sophia church and collected Roman laws into one code.
Who is Alexander the Great?
It was actually someone starting with J again. It says Justinian.
Oh, okay.
Just down the street. Anyway, what would you like, Edie? You're still in control.
Let's try the body human for 200.
The body human for 200. To prevent rejection of transplanted organs, doctors suppress these blood cells.
What are white blood cells?
White blood cells is what we're looking for. Edie is on fire. What would you like, Edie?
The body human for 300.
The body human for 300. Though associated with ill temper, this organ actually produces antibodies.
What is the liver?
Liver. I don't know why that's ill temper. No, it's the spleen. Well, I don't know why that's considered ill associated with ill temper either. Says who? Alex Trebek. You're still in control, Edie.
Let's do the stars for 200.
The stars for 200. Every second, the sun converts about 4 million tons of this into helium. I don't know my chemistry. Does anybody?
What is oxygen?
Oxygen. Okay. Good guess. Let's take a look. It was the other one. Hydrogen. The other big one. Edie, you're still in control. What would you like?
Ancient times for 100.
Ancient times for 100. He built Babylon's Ishtar Gate as well as the Hanging Gardens.
Who is Nebuchadnezzar?
Good answer. I'm thinking of that 70s disco band. Nebuchadnezzar is correct. Moscow. What was that? What was that band called that had the Babylon stuff in the
I don't know.
70s? Oh, anyway, never mind.
Steely Dan?
No.
Babylon
It
Sister,
was
Steely Dan?
like
No?
a funk group from Germany or something, all black dudes. Oh, like an ensemble band. What is the band called? I'll get it later on. Anyway, Edie, you're still in control.
Ancient times for 200.
Ancient times for 200. The place in Egypt where Jacob settled and was known to the Hebrews as the land of this.
The land of milk and honey.
The land of milk and honey. It's actually Goshen. Okay. These all sound like Sunday school questions, which is why I didn't go to it. Edie, still in control.
How is Edie still in control?
You just got to get one right.
I'm going to file a protest.
Let's do mountains for 100.
Mountains for 100, says Edie. Due to the number of climbers, the Park Service may put an outhouse at the 17,000 feet level of this Alaskan peak.
No idea.
There's one big...
What is Mount Everest?
Pretty sure that's a little bit south of
would be
Alaska.
south. Would it be Mount McKinley? No, that's not in Alaska. I don't know.
Hey, that sounds... there's a big one in Alaska. I can't remember what it is called, but it's Mount McKinley, Edie. You knew it. Well done. You're still in control. Hopefully Tom won't get upset. What would you like, Edie?
The body human for 100.
The body human for 100. These smallest blood-carrying tubes in the body link arteries to veins.
What are capillaries?
Capillaries. That sounds good. Let's take a look. It is correct. Edie's absolutely on fire. How many points have you got? I can't even see because I've messed up the scoreboard, but you got a lot. What would you like, Edie?
Potent potables for 300.
Potent potables for 300. The strong, dark type of beer takes its name from Einbeck, Germany, where it was first made. There's a German beer that you can get down at we call it the Bottle-O, or you call it the liquor store, and it's got some of Einbeck's name in it. That'd be my clue. I don't even know if that's... No, that might be a different one. Let's take a look. Nobody knows this one.
What is Bach beer?
Tom, you absolutely got that correct. I was thinking Beck's. Do you have Beck's as well?
We do.
And
yeah.
That's not from Germany at all. I think that one's from...
It's just a German brand.
Yeah.
It's not a dark beer. It's not a type. It's a brand.
You got it. And you're in control now. What would you like?
Oh, let's try the stars for 300.
The stars for 300, says Tom. No kidding. This star has been described as the nose of the constellation Canis Major. And I'll give you a clue. Do you know... you know who Howard Stern is, of course. Is he still around? He's still alive. Would you know the type of radio he's on? The station?
Sirius.
Sirius is the answer. That is a constellation. There you go. You wouldn't have got it without the Howard Stern thing, would you?
No, I wouldn't have. I was going to punt the ball back to Edie.
Oh, okay. A lateral. Tom, you're still in control.
Let's do first names for 200.
First names for 200. The dynamite first name of the founder of the Nobel Prizes. Dynamite first name? TNT? What's his name? Nobel.
I thought it was Alfred, but...
Nitroglycerine? Alfred? Let's go with Alfred. Oh, hang on. What was the name of that character that used to say dynamite all the time on a sitcom?
Jimmy Walker.
I wonder if it's Jimmy? No, that's not right. All right, let's take a look. It is Alfred. I think you said that, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. You got it.
Edie said it, or
No.
Tom said it. Well done,
Yeah.
Tom. Before I got you completely down the wrong path. What would you like?
I don't know how that's a dynamite first name though.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. What?
I'll do first names for 300.
First names for 300. Maybe he invented dynamite, and that's what he got the prize for. Mountain ranges on this continent include the Queen Elizabeth, Queen Alexandra, and Queen Maud. There's going to be one.
What is Australia?
Good answer, because we got a lot of that stuff down here, like they do in Canada, and where else? Where else the old king and queen invaded? It's not Australia. Do you have any idea, Edie?
Perhaps. What is North America?
The answer we're looking for is Antarctica.
Oh, okay.
What are they doing, claiming mountains down there? They got nothing to do with Antarctica. Anyway, Tom, you're still in control.
Potent potables for 400.
Potent potables for 400. This is your category. Sorry. It's usually made with bourbon, sugar, mint, and crushed ice.
What is a mint julep?
Oh, that sounds good. Mint julep's correct. Well done, Tom.
Since we just had the Kentucky Derby here.
Oh, wow. Was that good? Who won it?
Yeah, it's a horse race, and
I know.
Yeah. All right, let's do potent potables for 500.
Potent potables for 500. Whiskey sours and daiquiris are similar, except that daiquiris contain this instead of whiskey.
I will say tequila.
Edie, do you want to have a guess?
Sugar? I don't know.
Okay. Let's see. It's rum. I was going to say vodka, but yeah, rum is kind of fruity, isn't it? That makes sense. Mm-hmm. All right, Tom, what would you like?
Let's do the body human for 500.
The body human for 500. The scientific name for the shin bone. Goodness me, I've got no idea. So you got the femur.
Oh, the femur's the top one.
Yeah, the top. And then what do you got down there?
I don't know.
Oh, no, I don't know either. Edie, do you have any idea?
What is the, let's see. I get them mixed up. I think it's the fibula. What is the fibula?
That's probably
it's the one. Oh, it's the tibia.
Yeah.
Tibia. Okay. Well done. Where's the fibula? Who knows? Tom, what would you like?
The stars for 400.
The stars for 400. Term for rapidly spinning neutron star that emits radio waves. Goodness me. I wonder if it's that other answer we had, but because that's to do with radio.
What is a quasar?
Quasar, Tom.
I think that might be right.
It's a pulsar. You were definitely up the right tree there, barking up the right tree, as they say. What would you like next?
Ancient times for 400.
Ancient times 400. With the defeat of this man at Actium in 31 BC, Octavian had full control of the Roman Empire. Who did he defeat?
Who is Julius Caesar?
That's what I was thinking. It's got to be the most famous one of all. It's the other one, Mark Anthony, the WWE wrestler. Tom, what would you like?
Man, I'm just trying to punt the ball back to Edie.
Yeah, you can do that. Edie, would you like to take over?
No. First name, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
First names for 300.
First names for 300. Were he alive, you would call him by this first name to thank him for the Rhodes Scholarship. That's the thing in England where you get it at Oxford University, and that's supposed to mean you're really smart.
Who is Calvin?
Calvin. Good old Calvin Rhodes, is it? It was, does that say Cecil? Gee, that's a name you don't hear too often these days, luckily. Tom, what would you like?
Mountains for 200.
Mountains for 200. Third highest peak in North America. It's the third, is in this third largest country in North America. So what are they talking about there? So North America is Canada, United States. What else is in North America? Is Mexico North America?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's the third highest peak in the third largest country in North America. So it would have to be in Mexico if that's correct.
Well, I think the question is asking about the third largest country, isn't it? The third largest.
It is, yeah.
Yep. So Edie answered it. What is Mexico?
It is Mexico. Well done, Edie.
Is it? Okay.
Who knew? It's South America, but there you go. I'm just a dummy from Australia.
Let's do the body human for 400.
Body human for 400. This integumentary system is another term for this, the body's largest organ.
What is the skin?
The skin, yeah, that one. I remember saying that one in primary school.
That's right.
Edie?
Let's do the stars for 500.
The stars for 500. This closely spaced group of stars is named after a group of 7 sisters.
What are the Pleiades?
Pleiades. Well done, Edie. How on earth did you know that?
Love me some astrology and astronomy.
There you go.
There you go. Let's do ancient times for 500.
Ancient times for 500. The ancient Persian holy book called the Avesta contains the writings of this man and his followers.
Who is Zoroaster?
Zoroaster. Is that the guy that they spin around?
I think that's the
whirling dervishes.
That's Sufism, I think.
Okay.
Islam.
Well, what would you like? We got a little quadrant there. First names and mountains. We got 400 and 500 of each. What would you like?
Let's do mountains for 400.
Mountains for 400. This Englishman was the first to survey K2's peak.
No idea.
No idea here either. I know K2 is Mount Everest.
Well, I think that he would be more than likely to name it after himself if he was the first white fella to get up there. What do you reckon? I would just go Mr. Everest. Another bum steer from Julian. It's Henry Godwin Austen.
Okay. No chance.
What would you like, Edie? You're still in control, I believe.
Let's do first names for 400.
First names 400. Colonel Sanders of Fingerlickin fame. What was his first name? You'll never guess this. There's a
what?
Go on.
Edie, do you know it?
No, go ahead.
What is Harlan?
Harlan. You got it. I was going to say there's a comedian from Canada that was in Dumb and Dumber, the policeman that drinks the beer bottles. You remember? His name was Harlan. That was my clue. Anyway, we've got 2 left. First names and mountains. Tom?
First names for 500.
First names. According to Hoyle, it was his first name. Well, we don't even know who Hoyle is, do we?
I think he was the guy that had something to do with playing cards, but I have no idea what his first name is.
No, I don't don't either. Edie, do you have any idea on this one?
Edmund.
Edmund. I feel like a Tom. Tom Hoyle sounds good.
That does sound right.
Edmund. Who said Edmund? Edie.
Does it really say Edmund?
Edmund. Edie, that was incredible. Edie,
Wow.
You've got
That's
some
cool.
untapped knowledge there. You got tapped knowledge and untapped.
She was looking down. I saw her go to ChatGPT.
Sure, yeah.
We've had many Google incidents on this show.
Yes, I absolutely wasn't.
I believe you, Edie. Today, climbers can make it from the Chamonix City Hall to the top of this mountain and back in less than 5.5 hours. Do we know where Chamonix City is?
Chamonix is in France.
There you go. So, what's the famous French peak? I know this one. Okay, there's a famous biro pen. Expensive biro pen.
What is Mont Blanc?
Mont Blanc. Well done, Tom. And unfortunately, I can't see the scores. So I reckon Edie might have just pipped you at the post there. What do you reckon, Tom?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I reckon Edie might have just got you there. What do you think? I can't see the scores.
Well, Edie built up a big lead.
Yeah, she.
I was not in her league.
You started off strong in potent potables, and then Edie's just started getting many of them right. Well done, Edie. Let's have a round of applause for Edie. That's not working.
Thank you.
All right, Edie, you can kick things off because you won, and let's tell us about what you're up to. So you're a coach, basically. Is that correct?
Yeah, a business consultant. So I help people build the business of their dreams through soulful strategy and systems. So technology, processes, all the fun things that we visionaries absolutely adore. I do, but I do it in a way that honors their natural rhythms, their unique way of doing business instead of fitting them into a box.
So you do all the technology stuff as well as the getting unstuck stuff. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's good because a lot of people avoid all of that stuff. But you got to have some. It's I have the idea of where to go, but you've got to know the practical stuff to implement it. And how did you get into that type of consultancy work?
Yes. So my background is in civil engineering. So I've always been interested in the technical aspects of life in general. And I helped my then husband operationalize his business from the ground up and saw tremendous success within a few years. He's able to scale to $500,000. And so after doing that, I realized I had a gift for this. I love it. And began pursuing career opportunities that aligned with this, as well as helping people on the side. And in 2022, I launched my consultancy full time, and the rest is history, as I say.
I like that. So you've got some time up on the batter's mound, as they say, because you did it with a real business, and then,
right.
And then you were like, hey, actually, I'm quite good at this. It's always good when I hear that, I think, and yeah, that's amazing. So what type of things did you do for the original business where you realised that you're actually good at it? What did you do? What type of business did your husband have?
Yeah, tree service business.
Yep. And what did you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything except for tree service, fundamentally. So HR, processes, branding, marketing, creating the website, creating strategy for getting our name out in the community. The client experience, which is a big thing I work with clients on, is from the first time they hear of you till offboarding. How do we delight and surprise so that they bring in more customers? And so with that is the strategy portion, the on paper understanding of what we're doing, but then building that out in the technology so it mirrors exactly what's on paper. Because that's where a lot of people get tripped up.
Yeah.
They'll put it on paper, it's beautiful, but they won't actually operationalize it and put it into their technology in their everyday practice.
Yeah, they say, look, it sounds good. I want to do that, but they don't actually do anything. And I like the bit where you said, at the end of the process, after the jobs are done, you put a process in place to make them happy. I find that to be a huge thing, and it stops all of the negative problems that you have just by showing that you're making an effort to make sure that the person's happy. Because a lot of the time, in the past, I've just kind of like get them in, fix the problem, get them out the door.
Right.
And I realised that that part particular was something I was missing, and it was very important. How do you, what's some of the good ways to take care of that out the door process?
Absolutely. So a good way is to think about the emotion that you want people to associate with you and want to remember you by, and look at your client process, have it written out, and just think about what are the steps we could take that would make them feel this emotion. So if you want them to feel that you're stable, perhaps the typical industry you're in is characterized by a lot of unstable actors, or people. The contracting industry is a lot like that. It's everybody has a horror story about like a roofer or a plumber or whatever. So if you want the emotion to be stability when you leave, then you think about actions and touch points that convey stability, which may be, cohesive follow-ups. Maybe after they've left, you tell them, we're going to follow up in 7 days to see how things are. And you actually make sure you do that, right? And maybe you have an email sequence that touches base with them and provides them necessary follow-up for whatever service you just provided. If you want it to be maybe more of an emotional connection, then you build in, maybe you send a personalized note at the end or a phone call to check in with them. Maybe you drop off some cookies at their door. So it really depends on the emotion you're trying to evoke. You start with that because we as humans are very emotional beings, and then our brains come in and rationalize the emotion we're experiencing. So you start with the emotion you want them to experience, and then build out the touch points that would elicit that emotion in a non-manipulative way, but in a truly supportive way.
Awesome. And you sort of have niched down on female entrepreneurs. Is that correct?
That's largely who I serve. Yeah, I have worked with men as well.
Yeah, it makes sense. And what types of businesses do you work with mostly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I work with typically service-based, high-touch companies, so often appointment-based. So like massage therapists. I work with a lot of Reiki healers. I do a lot with more metaphysical, or as people call woo-woo businesses. People who right now, most of their income is from one-on-one client work. I work with a lot of them. Oftentimes they're at the pivot point where they're wanting to scale beyond their money just coming from sitting in front of a client to more like one-to-many offers or different structures.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, these are solopreneurs usually, and you get stuck in the business really quickly with this type of thing. What's kind of the key thing that you're able to help people go from doing everything but not growing the business to doing less and growing the business?
Yeah, you're asking what is kind of the key...
Yeah, the key sort of steps involved, if you can put it in a nutshell, which is a bit hard, but...
Yeah, absolutely. It's really increasing their internal capacity. I encourage people to work with me before you even hire your first VA, because very often there's inefficiencies and ways we're doing things that are comfortable but not supportive. And so that's what I really help people with, leveraging their technology, streamlining it, making sure that it's working as much as it can. So I would say the biggest thing is finding those internal points of friction and resolving them.
Before you get the VAs, yeah, that makes sense, because you don't even really know what you're doing when you're flat out like a lizard drinking, as we say down here. And get all those processes in place, and then start getting the third parties into, and you can delegate those tasks off. Makes a lot of sense. Well, that's awesome. That's Edie Oduura, and if you are kind of treading water a little bit, it's busy, you're making money, but you are kind of at that point where it's unsustainable chaos. You might need to have a chat to Edie. And particularly, I mean, you do all sorts of businesses, but you do a lot of like health type businesses as well, and therapies and all that type of stuff, don't you?
Correct.
Yep. So if that's you particularly, then this would be a perfect match. I'll put Edie's website in the show notes. Thank you for coming on, Edie.
Yes, thank you. Can I mention one real fast thing?
Absolutely.
Is that I also I love ethical and soulful pricing. So I have now rolled out a structure where I offer very flat, below industry standard monthly retainer, and then we do a revenue share. So I'm invested in your business just as much as you are. Well, I know I'm never as invested as a visionary, of course, but I am more invested. And so it's really a partnership and not just you paying a retainer and hoping that it works out. So just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, because for the people out there that maybe they've had a bad experience before, if Edie's got skin in the game, as they say, and it's paid on results, then it's a no-brainer. So that sounds good, Edie. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, Tom. How you doing over there, Tom?
I'm doing great, Julian. Fascinating, Edie. Congratulations on your business.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And Tom,
I love the idea of having skin in the game. We used to call it a success fee in the businesses that I was in, and that's oftentimes very comforting to an owner to let them know that you are truly side by side with them.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And Tom, while we're working on our businesses, sometimes we let our relationships drive off a cliff. Is that right, Tom?
I would say that's pretty accurate. I would say with or without a business, we're driving our relationships off a cliff. And I guess in answer to your question to Edie, the opening question, I would say that I'm a retired business executive. I've been in senior leadership positions in a variety of companies, large and small, over the years. A lot of them in what I would call the creative side of things, advertising agencies, marketing communications firms, et cetera. But I've also been instrumental in some of the successes enjoyed by some large companies as well in manufacturing. So I spent a lot of time in my career as a corporate fixer, we called it. Some people would say turnaround guy. Some people would say business architect. Whatever it was, I was never the most popular person on campus, so to speak, because typically when somebody like me gets a call, it's from a banker, a lawyer, or an accountant who says, I have a client or a customer that is in trouble, and we need somebody to go in and fix it, or we're going to yank the loan in the case of the bank, or the IRS is going to be down on my client in the case of the accountant or the attorney. So I used to say to people that no entrepreneur wakes up in the morning and says, I can't wait to need somebody like Tom Hagerty to come into my business. So you're never most popular, but at the end of the day, if you do the job well, and the company survives and or is sold, then you've done well for the ownership.
Yeah, it's a tough one when you've got to come in and do the hard decisions. But if we're honest, we know it's required, isn't it, in some cases?
Yeah. But I would say most recently for me, though, and the reason why you probably had me on the podcast is that about a year or so ago, I wrote a book called The Business of Relationships. And the foundation of the book is basically saying that for a wide variety of reasons, our relationships are suffering and are in deep trouble. And those relationships are everything from spousal relationships to siblings to parent-child to friends, business colleagues, et cetera. And the statistics out there are pretty frightening. And the Business of Relationships, the book itself, examines the 12 fundamental qualities that we must have for thriving personal relationships and shows how business leaders can guide us to improve and or enhance and or even develop some of those qualities that may be absent.
Right. And when did you write this book, Tom?
Wrote the book in 2023. It was published late that year, almost early 2024 before everything picked up. So it's about a year and a half old now. And I've used it as a vehicle to speak to companies, to speak to schools, in many cases, MBA classes, college classes, and things like that, to basically emphasize the primacy of relationships, not just in business, but in personal life as well.
Awesome. And I want to ask you a couple of things. How to guarantee no one will like you? What does that mean?
Well, there's a whole bunch of different ways to guarantee that people won't like you, and I'm going to pull some notes out because I don't frequently get asked that question, nor do I do it from memory. But there is, a number of things. I would say number one, if you don't want people to like you, make everything about yourself. Make yourself the center of attention. Don't hesitate to one up people. When they say that they've had a tough time or that they're having a difficult situation with a teenager or whatever it might be, always be that person who says, "Oh, if you think that's bad, let me tell you what happened to me." That kind of
We all
thing.
know
So
someone like that.
that would be one of those. But so there are a bunch of different ways to make sure you're not liked. I would say something real simple that for a lot of people, never offer to pick up the tab, never offer to pay your share. That's something that is going to wear thin. I would say another thing is show up habitually late for everything, even if it's only by a few minutes. Never be the person who is the first one at the theater or the first one on the golf course.
I'm feeling personally attacked, Tom.
Somehow I thought maybe that would resonate, but
And the other one I wanted to ask you is, how can a mosquito teach us to make a difference?
Wow. That's an easy one. That's an easier one because I don't have to take any notes for that. There was a business executive. Her name was Anita Roddick, and her story is a fascinating one. She was born in a bomb shelter in World War II England. She lost two fathers by the time she was in her early teens. And she married a man who subsequently went to the United States to make his fortune and left her and her children behind in England. They stayed married, and there was no issue with that. But separation was a big part of her life. But yet this woman founded a company called The Body Shop. And many people are very familiar with that. It was a big retail chain here for a while in the States and around the world. But her position was, Julian, that she founded the company based on the fact that there would be no animal testing in any of the components or the ingredients that went into her cosmetics. And she ended up selling cosmetics initially out of the trunk of her car with her daughters in tow. The company was sold decades later to L'Oreal for about $2 billion with a B dollars. And the prime minister at the time, when he was commemorating her at her death, he said that she was possibly the greatest entrepreneur that this country has ever produced. And he didn't say the greatest female entrepreneur or the greatest entrepreneur who happened to be in the cosmetics business. He said that Anita Roddick was the greatest entrepreneur in the UK ever. And her quote, to form the basis, I wanted to give you a little background, but to form the basis of that, she said, "Anytime you think you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito." And that quote was very much a business quote. She actually gave it in a speech to a business group. But I took it and spun it in the direction of a personal relationship. That, the small things, the seemingly inconsequential things, the seemingly unnoticed things are the things that oftentimes make a difference. And don't think that what you do in a certain context is not a major thing to someone else. However small it may seem to you, never think that it's inconsequential to someone else on the receiving end of that, good or bad. So, yes, anytime you think you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito.
Yeah, it's a great analogy and something, that I've had to learn of things that I would never understand to be important gestures or whatever, just that they are very important, and it's sort of you can learn to sort of change and it really makes your relationships a lot better. Very interesting stuff. Well, that's great, Tom. And so what do you got coming up?
Well, I'm working on book number 2 and 3. They will be radically different than book number 1 because I don't believe in revisiting the same farm twice, so to speak. And I've got some other subjects I'm interested in, but I continue to speak in front of groups. And more than anything else, I'm kind of enjoying retirement with kids, grandkids, and golf. So, necessarily in that order. But
That's awesome. Great. And the name of your current book, do you want to just remind us of that so we can check it out?
the current book is The Business of Relationships, and it is available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, bookstores, et cetera, et cetera. And so if somebody wants to buy it, from your audience, I would be very, very grateful for that. And I think they would get a lot of benefit from it as well.
Wonderful. Well, yes, that's Tom Hagerty there, The Business of Relationships. And you can reach out to Tom on his LinkedIn as well. And also, Edie, I've got your website and your Instagram on there. So if you want to connect with our guests, please do so. Thank you very much, Tom Hagerty and Edie Duran.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julian. Edie, it was nice to meet you.
You as well.
Good luck with your business.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, everyone. Sorry, it's Edie Oduura. I messed up your last name. Sorry, Edie. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time. Ciao.
Bye now.